Welcome back again to Huckleberry Bastion. It's a nice day out, so I thought I'd come down here to the shore and show you how you can make a simple gill net for survival, for catching small game or birds or fish. Or you could do like they did in the movie Predator and catch a 7-foot tall, 500-pound alien from an advanced civilization that's come here to Earth to make humans into trophies. In order to make your gill net, you're going to need a lot of cord. Now, of course, if you have the time, the patience, and the skill, you can make this at a natural cordage. But it's a lot easier if you just have some spools of bank line. You're going to want 2 different sizes of line. A thicker line for the top and the bottom of the net, and then a thinner line to make up the body of the net. Of course, you're also going to need some kind of multi-tool or knife to cut all your line. Now, if you're carrying paracord, what you can do is you can cut the paracord open and remove the inner strands and use those for the body of your net, and use the sheathing of the paracord as the top and bottom line. Your next step is to run the top line, your thicker diameter line, between a couple posts or trees. So the distance between the poles is going to determine the width of your net, and the height is going to be how deep your net is. What you're going to do is you're going to take the thinner line and double it and run it down the height of the net here. And what happens is when you start tying and making your net, you're going to use up this cord. So realistically, you're only going to get about 3/8 of the actual height between here and here. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you on this thicker line and with some paracord the knot that you're going to make in order to attach your fine line to your main line. And that knot is called the prusik knot. And what it does, it's a knot that you can adjust and move around while it's loose, but under pressure it grips and tightens and won't move around. Now how you do that is you just make sure your cord is even, and first you're going to make like a lark's head. So you just go over and through, and you end up with a knot like that. Now the lark's head you would just tighten up so you'd get like that. Now all the prusik knot is, it's the same thing, except you're going one more time through. So you just come through again, and make sure nothing is overlapping, so everything is nice and even as it comes together. Nice and neat. Nothing overlaps. So just like that. And as you can see, if I loosen it up, I can move it along the line. But when you put some tension on it, it's much more difficult to move. And this is what we're going to use to construct our net. And it's also good for ridge lines when you're setting up a tent, and we'll use it later in future videos. With your double lines tied onto your main line using the prusik knot, now you can evenly space them apart. Generally that's going to be about 1.25 inches or so apart spacing, but you're going to size that spacing depending of course on the prey you're trying to catch. So just use a stick, or if you have a multi-tool or something, just so you can get the same even distance between the knots. And of course this allows you to make adjustments. So now that we have our line in place, what I've done is I've set up another piece of line just as a guideline, because what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be tying overhand knots in between each of these, attaching these lines together. And just to keep them evenly spaced, I'm going to use a guideline. The next step to making our net is we're going to attach these lines. And we're going to start by attaching the inside line with the inside line of the second strand. And we're going to do that by just tying a simple overhand knot at the level of our guide line. Using this method to make a gill net isn't very difficult, but it is very time consuming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue adding some strands across. I'm going to connect them as I did with the top row, make the second row the same way, third, fourth, and so on, and see how much of the net I can get finished today. Hey, I got an idea for a video. Let's make a gill net. I mean, let's go outside for a few hours, tie a few hundred knots and tiny strands of rope. I'm sure the 14 people watching this video appreciate it. When you complete the first row, you're just going to move your guide line down, then start back at the first strand, and you're going to attach the outside strand now to the inside strand of your second row. So now we're just going to make a diamond, and you're going to continue over just as you did with the top row and keep repeating that. Now for the next row. This time we're going to put the outside strand to the first inside strand. Officially now my naughtiest video. Here's how I make the prusik knot when I have two ends and not the loop. And I'm going to use this to finish off my net when I get down to the bottom and want to attach the bottom strands to the main line. So you take the two ends and you simply start wrapping them around twice. So each one goes around twice, like this. And there you can see the familiar shape. And then once it's like that, you're just going to attach your two ends together, and you can tie a variety of knots. I'm just going to do a little granny knot for demonstrations here. But you can see it creates that prusik knot again, which you can use to tighten or loosen and make your adjustments. Now that I've finished the net, I've tied it to the bottom line, and I've left the extra bit of line hanging, because if you're going to use this net in the water to catch fish, you can use this extra line to tie on weight, rocks, whatever you can get to sink the net and keep it floating vertically. On the top, of course, you'd attach something to make it float, or you can just tie that right to the sides of the bank. Well, the net's finished, and it's taken me several hours to construct this net from beginning to end. And it's only about 2.5 feet by 2 feet in depth. So if you're going to make a larger net, it's going to take a considerable amount of time. Now this is a gill net, and in some areas it's illegal to use a gill net, but if you're in a survival situation, then that's really not going to matter. You can pay the fine as soon as somebody comes and rescues you. As always, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and if you're a real fisherman looking at this and thinking, what is that monstrosity? Well, I'm sorry. I did the best I could. Catch you next time. Carry this thing back up to the house. It's not that heavy.